Me myself, I'm just a uni graduate, but in terms of like my career, in terms of like game development and like music, I've kind of been like first and foremost, I'm a musician, and I've been a musician since I was like very very little. And I'm a self-taught musician because the way I learned was when I was very very little. My mom got me this keyboard, this piano keyboard for my birthday, but just as like a little toy to play around with. But I was like obsessed with it. So like every single day, like my mom would be getting ready, and then like I'd be downstairs like while she's getting ready after she's got me ready. So like just playing it after I finish my breakfast, and that would be happening like every single day before I go to school. And then like when I come back from school, and like I realized just trying out different things and like trying out things that I was like inspired by and trying to replicate that and like implement that, and I also like to compose my own stuff. So that's kind of how like I've always been. And I started like doing music digitally when I was around about 11 when I got my laptop, and I just basically like started continuing from there. And in terms of game development, I started doing that after I started dabbling in animation around about 2017 because I was working on my first project, which is connected to Sword of Symphony called Purpose. And it's split into two projects. One is an animated series, one is a video game. And the animated series I started first. And since the story for that was getting quite large, I wanted to break it up into two segments. So I kind of divided it and had the other arc, so to speak, in the video game. And that's when I started teaching myself game development. The same way I taught myself animation, really. Like, it's just a bunch of YouTube tutorials and, like really making sure that every day I at least learn something or I've at least done something contributing to the project. Because at the start, it was really difficult to like balance both things. So like with like everything else I was doing, because 2017 I was doing my final exams for A level. So yeah, I was just basically like a slow but progressive kind of build in terms of skill to where I am right now. And game development, I did that started in 2019. I had the engine on my laptop, just like that was just like experimenting with it on like a noob level. I wasn't really taking it serious. I just had the engine because I was just like, okay, this is cool, like a little hobby. But I took it seriously when I had the idea for the game project of my animated series. And that's when like everything I know now has been an accumulative learning progress result over the past 2 years. I had to check because it's like 2021 now to like 29. Yeah. So basically that's my game development journey. And how Sword of Symphony came about is round about this time period where I was where I came up with Sword of Symphony. I actually was trying to decide what to do for my final year university project because I was doing a music technology course in my university. And since the summer, just before that term, just before the start of term of my final year, I was working on the cinematic trailer for Purpose, and I was I was thinking I could use that, but by the time this term started, I'd already almost finished it, so I couldn't really like give this to my professors and be like, oh yeah, I want to do this because it's like 90% finished. It's not really like a so like, and then for my course, I had to do something that kind of used the skills and like the theory about audio and visual and sort of stuff, and like the synergies between the two, and have that in like kind of like a practical kind of case study in a sense. So since I already did the cinematic trailer which used that, I was like, okay, well, I can't just do that. It's kind of cheating. So I was like, okay, I need to think of something absolutely new, but something small, but something that doesn't like you know take me away from what I'm already doing in a sense, like in terms of my skills, like animation and game development, because I don't want to like have like a huge hiatus and then come back and I'm like, like the momentum's gone and then you just get like, you just don't know what you're doing really. So I started sketching like ideas for, initially it was supposed to be like with my Purpose characters, but now I was thinking doesn't really make any sense. So I decided to like do an entirely new project, and that was when I started doing the early sketches for Sword of Symphony. And but at the start it had no story. It was just a small prototype level, which I was just intending to just hand in and forget about straight afterwards and go to Purpose afterwards. But I made a social media account for Sword of Symphony just to let people know that, I'm not dead. I'm still, working. I'm still working, like, doing stuff. It's just not purpose at the moment, and I was gonna get back to it afterwards. So just that people can know what I'm doing, see what I'm doing if they're interested, just in case. So at the start, like I wasn't getting that many followers, but I wasn't really expecting that many followers, to be honest. Like it was just, just something on the side. And at that time, I was just doing like the game mechanics, like the running, the jumping, and all the music based, just the stuff without any sound. And that was on my Twitter account and on my Instagram. And when I started doing like the musical combat with the music, like with the fighting with the music, that's when the views started coming in. And because I think like around about that time, people can like kind of see this is actually what the game is about. Like you actually do fight with the power of music and that sort of stuff. And I don't think people kind of knew that before I like showed it. I think people just saw like, maybe it was just like a game where like you fight and it's just like a regular hack and slash, but it's like with musical notes, which it's not that new. But like when you actually fight with the actual soundtrack itself, that's what I think it caught a lot of interest very quickly. Because I mean, I have to give myself credit. It is like a fairly new idea. I mean, like, but like like I'm just surprised it like got this amount of popularity as quickly as it did. So like I'm very grateful for like all the people who like took an interest in it and have been sharing it around, because it's like definitely made like the whole like showing update kind of process for me like a lot easier. Like I don't have to like rush so much to like show like the next thing, because like I know that like a lot of people are already interested in it. So but at that time I hadn't got TikTok yet. It was just on Twitter. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, maybe I should actually make this an actual thing, because people are like really liking it. And at that time, I'd got 1K followers on the Sword of Symphony Twitter, and I hadn't even got 1K on the Purpose projects yet. And I'd been working on them like years before, since like ever since like mid 2018, 19, so around about that time period. So yeah, I was like, well, looks like Sword of Symphony is the project that's gonna, like